एंड गुड इवनिंग। मैं हूं राना मोहम्मद इकबाल और आप देख रहे हैं रियल इस्टेट इनसाइट विद राना इकबाल। रियल इस्टेट न सिर्फ कनाडा की एक बड़ी इंडस्ट्री है, बल्कि आम तौर पर जब हम रियल इस्टेट में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो ये हमारी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स में से एक बड़ी इन्वेस्टमेंट होती है, चाहे वो इन्वेस्टमेंट हम अपना ज़ाती घर ख़रीदने या बेचने में करें या हम रेनोवेशंस, प्री कंस्ट्रक्शंस या कस्टम हाउसेस में इन्वेस्ट करें। रियल इस्टेट में इनसाइट इन्फॉर्मेशन बहुत अहम होती है। मेरा काफ़ी एक्सटेंसिव एक्सपीरियंस है और मल्टीपल अवार्ड विनर्स हूँ, इंक्लूडिंग दी डायमंड अवार्ड विनर। सो इसलिए मैंने डिसाइड किया कि मैं रियल इस्टेट की इनसाइट के बारे में गुफ्तगू करूँ और हमारा प्रोग्राम इसी हवाले से होगा। रियल इस्टेट में टाइमिंग की बहुत अहमियत है। राइट इंफॉर्मेशन एट राइट टाइम एंड राइट स्टेप एट राइट टाइम आपके प्रॉफिट को मैक्सिमाइज कर सकता है और आपको नुकसान से बचा सकता है। कोविड-19 ने जहां वर्ल्ड को बड़ी हद तक तब्दील करके रख दिया, वहीं पर कोविड-19 के असरात रियल इस्टेट मार्केट पर भी आए। आमतौर पर यह समझा जा रहा था कि कोविड-19 के दौरान रियल इस्टेट मार्केट की प्राइसेस या तो बहुत ज़्यादा ड्रॉप कर जाएंगी या फिर मार्केट क्रैश होने का ख़तरा है, लेकिन रियल इस्टेट मार्केट ने इसके बरअक्स बिहेव किया और रियल इस्टेट की प्राइसेस इस हद तक ऊपर चली गई कि अब ये समझा जा रहा है कि कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि ये बबल बन गया है और अब ये फट जाए या मार्केट क्रैश कर जाए या बड़ी हद तक मार्केट में कोई करेक्शन आ जाए। ऐसे और बहुत सारे सवालात लोगों के जहन में हैं और लोग सोचते हैं क्या हमें इस वक्त बाय करना चाहिए, सेल करना चाहिए या इंतज़ार करना चाहिए। अगर इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ गया तो उसके रियल इस्टेट मार्केट पर क्या असरात होंगे। यंग जो न्यू कमर्स हैं, हमारी यंग जनरेशन है, जब वो मार्केट में इन होगी तो वो रियल इस्टेट मार्केट में कैसे इन होगी। ऐसे बहुत सारे सवालात और मौज़ूआत को डिस्कस करने के लिए आज हमने जिस मेहमान को दावत दी है, ही इज़ हाईली एक्सपीरियंस्ड, रिनाउंड एंड वेरी रिस्पेक्टेड रियल इस्टेट एक्सपर्ट हैं, प्रेसिडेंट रॉयल लेपेज सिग्नेचर क्रिस सिलेगैथम। Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you, Rana. Thanks for having me here today.
Would you like to add something about yourself?
Well, no, you're very kind. I appreciate the opportunity. We've been in the business now for over 50 years as a family in the marketplace, so we have a lot of experience. And from that experience, we learn a little bit about the market, and we're always excited to share that experience with as many people as we can. So we appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
It's my honor that you joined us today. And I hope that my viewers, they will enjoy and they will learn a lot with your experience and information you will give in the show. As the expert in the field, could you share the current market status with our viewers?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. It's been a challenging year and really an uncertain year for many people with COVID and not knowing where things are going. Interest rates dropping caused a lot of people to actually become more interested in real estate than we even really anticipated. And what's happened is that's put pressure on prices and moved prices up. The demand for real estate in the last year has been at the highest levels in history. So we'll have more sales in 2021 than in any other year prior. And that has to do to a couple of things. One, as I mentioned, we have low interest rates. Our communities are growing. The regions we live in here, the communities we live in are popular. They're globally recognized as a great destination. Our immigration policy from our country, obviously, is to grow, which is very, very exciting. We're welcoming great new people to the country, and people need somewhere to live. And that is putting a tremendous amount of pressure on houses because we just can't build enough homes fast enough to help people, to keep prices from rising. So that's really driven the market in the last year. It will drive the market even further in 2022 with more people moving to Canada as borders are reopened and people can move around the world more freely.
Right. So, Chris, what do you think? Due to the high prices, shortage of the inventory, if I see that there are no inventories in the market right now, people are struggling, prices are going very high. There are two kind of speculations or the thoughts in the market that the prices will go more high, prices will rise, or the prices will go down. The more correction in the market, or it can crash. So, what's your take on it?
That's a great question. I have a chart actually I'd like to share with everybody on the screen today, and it shows from 2017 to today what has happened in the marketplace. And as you can see, and that shows each month where the average price has been each month along the way. And as you can see, prices over time, they don't always go straight up. You can see it kind of come ups and downs along the way, but over time it's been rising. And that's where ultimately prices will continue to go over time. Now, the question you asked is, in the short term, where do you think prices might go? That's a tough question to answer. What we do take into account is the potential for interest rates to rise next year. That may have some sort of cooling pressure on prices. I say may, because they're not predicting interest rates to move up that much. Coupled with the fact that we have more people moving to the area, we just don't have enough houses for everybody. So supply is constrained. And with that, we feel that prices are going to, at the very least, be stable in the new year, if not continue to rise slightly. It has jumped quite dramatically. Prices have jumped quite dramatically in the last year. And so to see another year of large price gains, we've seen almost 20% in 1 year, which is 2 to 3 times the normal amount. It would be, I would believe that it'll be just more of a stable year in 2022 with less extreme price pressure. But it's with the factors that we're dealing with here, with the growth of population and the fact that we just don't have enough houses to really take care of everybody's needs, I think that's going to hold prices where they are.
Okay, so I have another question related to the same question what I had before. Government promises, they promise that they're going to do this, they're going to do that. There's so many promises made by the government during the election time.
Yes.
Just like a recent past. So what do you think that if the government take some kind of measures, it can impact on the real estate market near future, or it will far away?
That's a great question. I think the government promises of trying to provide more housing, as we all know, and you know yourself, you're a builder, how long it takes to build a house.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen instantly.
I agree.
And so you imagine how long it's going to take. Even if today they've decided, yes, we would like to invest more and add more housing, it'll take years before that housing will actually be ready. So it's a great idea to add more housing, add more affordable housing if there's a way that they can come up with a solution. However, it's going to take years for that to really happen. So I don't think in the near term it'll have any major effects on our real estate market. It just can't move fast enough.
Okay, so but in a past history, in a 2017, if I remember that when the government announces a one tax, it impacts market very badly, and it continued around maybe year and a half or two. So market come back in 2019 after that, from May 2017 to the 2019 mid.
Yes.
So this kind of any major, if government takes some kind of actions, so it still it cannot be like a major effect on the market.
Again, great question, because the government, I think we have to believe that the government doesn't want to create any major changes in the market. I think they're wise to think, we can't have prices going up at 20% a year. That's not healthy or sustainable. So they acknowledge that. But on the other hand, they're not trying to, I don't believe anyway, they're trying to drop prices by 20% a year either. I think it really they're looking to try and stabilize it so it's just more of a healthy, smooth price appreciation. So I don't like in 2017 when we had a very hot market leading up to the first part of 2017, and they decided to make those rule changes with the foreign buyer tax, foreign buyer tax, and sometimes we forget that at the end of 2017 there was the mortgage rule change that added the new qualification requirements to qualify at about 2% more than what the existing mortgage rates were. So those two combined things caused the market to just kind of slow down for about 18 months. They weren't really looking to dramatically slow it down, but they did want to bring it down to a healthier level. And that's ultimately what happened. And yes, some areas had more price volatility than others. However, as you pointed out, 18 months later, prices were back to where they were. And then, of course, now we know they're up even further. So I think I come back to my assessment that prices will continue to rise over time. It would be healthier if they were rising at a slower rate, and I believe that's really the focus of the government actions. There's nothing that I can see right now that they can do, though, or have planned that would make major changes in pricing in the market.
So how will the housing market be affected if the interest rates continue to rise?
Absolutely. It will affect people's purchasing power. So as interest rates rise, the cost of borrowing rises, and that affects people's budgets on what they can pay for housing. The goal is when they start to move rates, the goal is to move them at a slow, measured pace. So 25 basis points or 1/4% each time, allow the market to kind of react to that move. Then they make another decision, maybe 3 or 6 months later to move it again. And it's that slow, measured pace that should ultimately not dramatically affect the market, but hopefully slows the price pressure down a little bit so we're not seeing that double-digit price growth that we've seen in the last year and a half. So yes, will it affect the market? But I'm not concerned that it's going to dramatically change the market in a short period of time where where it really makes it difficult for the market. I think they will look at it as a slow, measured approach that will allow the market to absorb that change, and again, maybe slow price growth down, but not cause a tremendous pullback on prices.
Chris, there are a lot of young first-time home buyers who are looking to get into the market. These people would like to know, will prices continue to rise or will the market cool down anytime soon? Although you already addressed this question a little bit previously, but I'm talking about specifically related to the young first-time home buyers.
And it's challenging right now for first-time home buyers because prices have come up so much. It's hard to really say whether prices are going to come down. My feeling is they're not, because the first-time home buyers, that price point that is most attractive to first-time home buyers, there's so much demand for that price point that's what keeps prices up. So I find it hard to see a scenario where prices would drop down in that first-time home buyer category. I think what has to happen is first-time home buyers may have to choose a different type of home as their first home. So maybe with a first-time home, you would love to have your own backyard and a nice driveway and you're in a detached house. Well, the first-time home buyers today will likely be buying condos, and that will be the number one type of property that people will purchase as first-time home buyers. And that's where I think you'll find most first-time home buyers will start in their real estate ownership path that they'll be on, just because of the way values have gone. Because there's more choice in condominiums, it gives first-time buyers more choice. The size of the units now you can find them priced in a more affordable range, and that's where I think most people will go.
So don't you think like if the young first-time home buyers or the first-time home buyers should go to the condominium market, condominium apartments, but if I can see in Mississauga, Brampton, Oakville, Burlington, even core areas of GTA, the prices are significantly high. Before like we can buy maybe $500, $600 per square feet, but now it crosses the $1,000 or $1,100. So if we go with the 600 square feet small one bedroom unit, it goes more than $700,000. So how come I'm a little bit confused. I'm sorry about
Yeah,
that.
it's confusing to me as well. I mean, living here and watching the market for so many years, it's to see where prices are today. It's surprising. The challenge is, of course, is construction costs have gone up.
Yeah.
Land costs have gone up. Development charges are going up. So all these things, the builder's profit actually is not rising. I'd like to point my finger at the builder and say, oh, you're making too much money. That's actually not the case.
No, I'm also a builder.
Yeah.
So don't point to me.
So, and where prices, costs of materials,
Yeah.
labor, hookup charges for utilities.
It's very hard to find the labor nowadays.
It is.
Yeah.
So all these factors are just pushing costs up.
Yeah.
So as much as I'd like to point at the builders and say you're charging too much, these are just facts that the costs of just delivering that finished product are so high today that there's really no choice as to what they can charge, which means to me it's hard to imagine how prices would come back down unless maybe construction costs change. But if you look back over time, prices don't come down to build, do they?
That's great. Like you have extensive experience and great knowledge. That's why you addressed everything very easily. It's a tough. These are tough questions. So allow me to ask few more questions.
Please.
Especially like government announces that like they will have 400,000 immigrants every year next 3 years, means 1.2 million immigrants. It will like put more pressure and burden on the real estate market. So what do you think like it because of this? Also, on the other hand, the interest rates can arise, can go high, and also this pressure. So how do you make balance between these two things?
And that's what I think will happen, is you'll have, even though you have interest rates maybe rising, as long as interest rates don't rise too quickly, which the goal is for them not to rise too quickly,
news.
Right? Good news. And we have more people moving into the country who have demand for places to live, that's going to keep those prices stable. So it doesn't mean that prices, and I hope this, I'm not excited about when people say, oh gosh, prices are up 20% this year, isn't that exciting? Well, sure, if you're a homeowner, it feels good that your values really rose quickly. But really for the health of the market and for new first-time buyers coming into the market and people moving to the country looking to buy a home, it's not sustainable on a long-term basis. So it really isn't, as much as a homeowner you're very excited about it, it really, from a long-term sustainability, it's not a great situation. So what they hope to try and accomplish, likely with rate increases, is just to cool that pricing pressure down a little bit. Cost of borrowing goes up, so people's budgets shrink, so they don't have as much purchasing power, and possibly that cools things down. But then, as you said, the surge of more people moving into the country, which, oftentimes half of new people to Canada come to our region, that's a big pressure. And, as we talked about, supply just isn't there at the pace that is needed, so that should keep prices holding where they are.
So what's your what advice would you give to the first-time home buyers who looking to buy, purchase, or sell the property? I mean like a first-time home buyers to buy the property, or who already owns the property who wants to sell. Because people like they keep asking the questions, is this right time to buy the property, or is this right time to sell the property? So if like Rana Iqbal, if I would make a decision, should I buy or sell? So what's your advice to the first time home buyers? They should buy now or they should wait? Or whoever already have the houses, they should sell now and upgrade or downgrade, or they should wait?
And my answer is it depends. It really depends on the individual situation. So real estate over time goes up. It's through decades. We track it. It has its moments where it dips down, but it goes back up. But over a period of time, and you saw it on the chart earlier, it starts down low and it ends up, over time up high. So as a first-time buyer, I feel the sooner you buy, the better, because you're paying down your own mortgage. You've got into the market now, and you're going to, even if you bought today, and let's say the market did cool down next year, you're generally planning to live in the property for a number of years. In real estate, I've always said, is really best on a long-term investment. So think of it as the longer you own the property, the better it turns out. So when you're buying real estate, if you're thinking of buying real estate today, always think of, I try to say, don't worry too much about what next year is going to bring. Think about year 5, year 7, year 10 of ownership, and have confidence that the values are going to rise over time. So that's for first-time buyers, because the sooner you get in, the sooner you start paying off your own mortgage. Right now, with interest rates the way they are, 50% of the first payment is principal payback. So you're paying down your mortgage. Half of that payment is paying down your mortgage on day one. And that's only because the rates are so low. So that's another secret added benefit of buying today, because you're going to pay that down right away. So over time, you're going to pay the mortgage down, rates are going to go up. So I always say the sooner you get in the market, the better. I also say, though, real estate is meant to be held over a long period of time. The best results come from the longer you own that real estate. So if you are buying today, think about a long period of time of owning it. If you're planning to sell today, you've had a great run. If you've owned real estate for a while and you're planning to sell, values are definitely at a great place. So is it a good time? Well, depending on what your personal life goals are. I'm not saying sell because, oh my goodness, the market has to correct. I don't look at real estate that way. I really look at it because over time it's going to continue to rise. I always say, personally, hang on to your real estate. I'm not really good for realtors because I always say, and it's not good for the market because that means there's no supply in the market, right? When people hang on to their real estate, there's no supply, so it doesn't help the market for me to say that. But really, over time, you're going to do well. But if you've been in your house and you're ready to make a transition, now is a great time to do that too, because you've likely done very well with your house. And then you can make a transition to a bigger home today, or maybe downsize. Maybe kids have grown up and moved out and you're ready to move into a condo. There's some beautiful condos, great opportunities there. Housing prices have grown faster than condominium prices. So detached and semi-detached have grown faster than condos. So if you're downsizing, that's a great trade because your house's price has accelerated faster than condos. And so you've made a great return on your house, and now to be able to transition into a different lifestyle in a condominium, it's a great time to do that too. So hopefully that helps.
That's great. That's great. Awesome. So what I understand, we should not be worried about buying or selling, but we have to consider our personal, home conditions or personal lifestyles, what my life says. As per the condition, as per the requirements, we can make decision not because of that, oh, market can be crash or market can go more high, blah, blah, blah. But we have to analyze our situations, our conditions carefully, and we can decide. This is what I understand.
Absolutely, because no two families are the same.
Yep.
Families living next door to each other on the same street have different, reasons, and so whether what the market conditions are doing are really less important than their personal situation on whether they should buy or sell. And that's exactly, the way I think you should look at it. What is your personal situation? What are your personal goals for yourself and your real estate and your investing and what you're doing? That's going to determine really what is best. And how long you've owned your property will also help determine. And then what your plans are going forward will help determine what's best for your personal individual situation. And that's why it's really tough to say, oh yes, now is the time for sure. Well, we don't know unless you sit down and really assess what the individual's situation is to determine, is now a great time to buy and sell real estate for their situation.
So during the COVID 2020 and 2021, we got many surprises. Approximately
Yes.
every quarter we got another surprise. Oh, prices go more high. Prices go more high. We were expecting maybe it's going to cool down or something steady or normalize, but it always goes up. So what I understand, this fear is not a real fear that the market will crash or market will go significantly down in the next maybe like a upcoming year 2022.
Absolutely. There's no real signal that there would be something to worry about. I think we start to worry when we see prices rise. And so everybody assumes that, oh, well, if they've gone up quickly, that must mean they have to correct. Like back in 2017, it was rising. The government came in and made an adjustment, and that caused it to correct. It doesn't automatically mean that. We have to remember that we've gone through a very unique time. People appreciate their real estate more than ever. We have a growing population and then we're just talking about real estate in our communities, right? In the communities that we serve. It's a growing population. Interest rates are very low. They've already started to rise a little bit, but there's no real plan, and the governments don't want interest rates to go way up either. I mean, they really, that's not really healthy for the overall economy. So you have everybody really, there's nothing that would indicate a major change in real estate values in the coming years, let alone next year. And as long as these factors stay the same, our country grows, interest rates are stable, our economy is solid, you're going to have demand for real estate, and on the other side of it, our supply is constrained. We just don't have enough. So unless you can solve the supply problem, which we talked about earlier, that doesn't happen overnight. It takes years to do that. Then I think you're going to see very, very solid prices.
But the supply problem will be more, difficult because then more immigrants will come in the next 3 years. So that supply pressure maybe like it can make the things balance.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So basically, in the early days, people keep talking because I'm a professional real estate broker, so I meet the people every day, journal buyers, sellers in a market. So people keep asking the same question repeatedly. The government gave too much money during the COVID time when they will ask to give back or stop that money. It's already being stopped. But after that, when it will impact the people's day-to-day life, and it will impact also on the real estate market as well. Is this true?
I don't think it will. I really, the most of the support that was given out were to people in the marketplace that really, unfortunately, suffered a lot. And I think if they had houses that they were concerned about making payments on, or their financial situation, they've likely already made arrangements. They've either sold that property, they've downsized, they've moved, whatever has happened there. That's kind of worked its way out. So I don't think there's really going to be I don't think that government support is actually affecting the real estate market. It really doesn't have any effect at all. I really don't believe whatsoever.
That's great. So one last question, Chris. Real estate market is not only the end users market, it's also investors market, especially the pre-construction condominiums, houses, semis, townhouses. So, what do you suggest, like for the investors or the people who wants to make some money by investing in a real estate market? So, is this good time for them to buy something, or they should sell their investments and they can make money, they can take the money out from their investment properties?
Again, it depends on their personal situation. However, I do think that buying real estate, I come back to my comment on the first-time buyers.
Yeah.
The sooner you buy, the sooner you start paying down the mortgage, and the sooner it starts to grow. And so I'm very, very positive on buying right now. I always am positive on buying because I always look at holding as well. So buying and flipping or doing quick turn of real estate, there's a little more risk there because you're thinking of sort of a short period of ownership, where I always look at buying and holding real estate as an investment. So if that's your strategy, with interest rates the way they are today, I think it's a brilliant time to buy and own real estate. On the other hand, if you've owned real estate for a long period of time, you know firsthand that you've done incredibly well. And so if you have a need to use that capital somewhere else, then that investment has done its job, and you may choose to sell it. But looking at the chart we looked at earlier, over time, it tends to, even though you saw those dots were bouncing around, you can see it on the screen now, the dots kind of bounce around on the chart, so that's showing that prices go up and down a little bit over time. But you can see from 2017 to where we are in October of 2021, we went from the lower end of the chart to the very, very top of the chart on the right-hand side, and owning real estate over that time period, you've done very, very well.
Thank you very much, Chris. Wonderful information. I believe my viewers, they enjoyed a lot, and they learned a lot with your experience, your deep depth knowledge. I have a request. If you can summarize my questions and your answers in few sentences, so it can be summarized like information we can get from you as well.
Sure, absolutely. So essentially, I'm a big believer in where values of real estate are going to go over time. So think about real estate over a longer time period, and you'll do very, very well. Interest rates, although they might rise in the near term, it doesn't look like they're going to rise very much. So again, the market should be able to handle that change. Our growth in population. We are going through a boom in population growth in the next 3 years, and I think it'll continue well beyond that. So the demand for housing is going to continue to be very, very high. And then, of course, the supply, the challenge is we just don't have enough homes to provide for everybody at the level of demand that there is. So right now we're facing the lowest inventory levels that we have seen in the history of the Toronto Real Estate Board. With that combination of those 4 points, I think real estate is going to be very, very stable for many, many years to come.
Thank you very much, Chris, for sharing the valued information to my viewers. देखें, जैसा कि आपने देखा, मैंने कोशिश की कि वो तमाम सवालात किए जाएं जो आप लोगों के जहन में होते हैं, आप मुख्तलिफ़ औक़ात में एक दूसरे से पूछते हैं, या किसी भी रियल एस्टेट एजेंट से अगर मौका मिल जाए तो ये सवालात किए जाते हैं, या समटाइम इसको सर्च किया जाता है. तो मैंने कोशिश की कि उन तमाम कंसर्न्स को, सवालात को, आपके उन क्वेश्चंस को क्रिस के सामने रखूं, और एक कह लें कि फॉर्मल से इंटरव्यू की बजाय मैंने बहुत ओपनली एक डिस्कशन उनके साथ यहाँ पर की है. आपके जहनों में अगर किसी किस्म का कोई क्वेश्चन रियल एस्टेट के हवाले से हो, इन्वेस्टमेंट के हवाले से हो, प्री कंस्ट्रक्शन, कस्टम हाउसेज, इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, हाउस बिल्डिंग, किसी भी हवाले से अगर आपके जहन में कोई क्वेश्चन हो, तो आप मुझे स्लाइड पे दिए गए नंबर्स के थ्रू कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं, ईमेल कर सकते हैं, या कॉल कर सकते हैं. मेरा अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह काफ़ी एक्सटेंसिव एक्सपीरियंस है रियल एस्टेट में. मल्टीपल अवार्ड विनर्स के साथ डायमंड अवार्ड विनर हूँ, इसलिए मैं कोशिश ये करूँगा कि अपने इस शो के ज़रिए جو ریئل اسٹیٹ کی ریئل انسائٹ ہے اس کو آپ کے سامنے لایا جائے. آپ اپنے کوشچنز ٹیکسٹ کر کے یا ای میل کر کے بھی مجھ سے پوچھ سکتے ہیں یا ڈائریکٹ مجھے کال بھی کر سکتے ہیں. میرے سے کسی بھی قسم کی ریئل اسٹیٹ سے ریلیٹڈ آپ کی کوئی نیڈس ہو تو یو کین کانٹیکٹ می اینی ٹائم. چلتے چلتے آپ کو ایک لسٹنگ شیئر کرتا ہوں. بہت بہترین اپرچونٹی ہے انویسٹرز کے لیے بھی اینڈ یوزرز کے لیے بھی, اور ریئلٹرز بھی مجھ سے رابطہ کر سکتے ہیں. کسٹم ہاؤس ہے مسز آگا میں, 3600 اسکوائر فٹ ابو گریڈ ہے, 2000 اسکوائر فٹ کی فنش بیسمنٹ ہے. اور کیونکہ ایک کسٹم ہاؤس ہے تو ایک لانگ لسٹ ہے جس میں فیچرز میں آپ کے سامنے شیئر کر سکتا ہوں. آپ مجھے کانٹیکٹ کریں ڈیٹیل کے لیے, تمام ڈیٹیلز میں آپ کو دے دوں گا. یہ مارکیٹ میں اویلیبل نہیں ہے, ایکسکلوسیو اپرچونٹی ہے. یو کین کانٹیکٹ می اینی ٹائم فار دس لسٹنگ, اور انشاءاللہ آپ کے ساتھ ملتے ہیں اگلے پروگرام میں. مجھے اب دیجیے اجازت. اللہ حافظ.